Marro Gnids. Maybe the game is done, but will zombies rise again? Once was a game that we all played. The name of the game was Heroscape. Sails blew up, her tail went down. Oh no, where did our game go? Soon may the Heroscape come to give us dragons and Marro Gnids. Maybe the game is done, but will zombies rise again? Heroscapers took up the mantle. With their own minds, yes, they could handle. Building C3 waves, we lit a candle, but hope was low. Soon may the Heroscape rise. Yes, AOA was a great surprise. One day when the funding is done, we will take our dice and roll. Then one day, hitting like a laser, Avalon Hill produced the trailer. Annihilation was very clever. Joe Crazy's mind was blown too soon. May the Heroscape rise. Yes, AOA was a great surprise. One day when the funding is done, we will take our dice and roll. With renewed hope, we join the Discord. For a new vision, we would listen to Patrick, Chris, and Craig. Or in concept art in tow. Soon may the Heroscape rise. Yes, AOA was a great surprise. One day when the funding is done, we will take our dice and roll. Now Heroscape is back again to play all day with our good friends. Valhalla is where we go now to face the battle of all time. Soon may the Heroscape rise. Yes, AOA was a great surprise. One day when the funding is done, we will take our dice and roll. Soon will the Heroscape rise. Yes, AOA was a great surprise. One day when the funding is done, we will take our dice and roll. We will take our dice and roll. We'll take our dice and roll.
Welcome to ToV Live. It is Valhalla time, and I guess I would say it's drama time too. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the ToV Podcast. Happy 2024 to everybody. It is a new year. Got a new ToV Podcast, first of the year tonight for you all. I am Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla, and we have the usual panel with us. We got Josiah, Rogue Scaper. We have Jason, Rocker Robotics. We have Joe Crazy as Joe Crazy 3193, and we have Jeremy the Echelon with us tonight. And I have a throat thing. Hopefully I'll be okay tonight. Yeah, happens. Anyway, sound a little deeper tonight, but that's all right. We got quite a bit to talk about from basically not much happening like in the past week or two, or anything since we've been on break. No, not much to talk about. But we do have tonight. A lot of people commented from the last podcast, especially a lot of the videos that I edited with Gordon talking. Bless his heart. And so we're going to be going through quite a bit of those. That's going to be like half the podcast probably in itself, because a lot of people left some good comments, and I want to just extend that freedom of showing what they had to say about those different subjects. So we're going to get into that in a minute. We also have the name calling. Yes, name calling. The name drawing for the contest for these Marro Gnids, 3 squads, 12 miniatures all together. These things don't come cheap. Let's just put it that way, okay? They do not come cheap, especially like rebased and like original 3D printed Heroscape based. Not cheap at all. But we're going to be doing that drawing in a little bit as well. We're going to be talking a little bit about Renegade, and they posted like an image or something or other. We're going to be taking a look at that, and then finally we're going to be talking about some points based off some videos of some people who might have left something in the past week or so, vaguely in my memory. I don't know, something like that. Might have to do something with Renegade and something, but we'll get into that in the in a little bit as well. So how about we get started first by going through some of these comments. And anyway, Happy New Year to you all. Hope all of you guys had a great break, great time with family and all that. Now it's the year of 2024. We're gonna get to work. So let's get started with these comments from the last podcast. And I'm going to first go off the Reddit comments, and I apologize if these look kind of ridiculous photographs, because they are. But we had some people commenting off the Reddit, and I think this was from the video where Gordon was talking about, we were saying, like remake the classic Heroscape line. So this comes from Wolfhunter333, and thank you, Wolfhunter, for the comment. It says, I think it could make sense eventually about remaking Classicscape, but until they can increase their market with new players, it's ultimately not going to be as economical as making new figures. It costs them roughly the same amount of money to make new versions of the old stuff as it would to make new stuff entirely. And the potential market for new stuff is 100% of old scale players and new players. While we're making the old stuff, their market, or the potential market, is some smaller percent of old players, and it may actually be more difficult to get new players to buy it at first, especially if there's no synergy. Once they've released enough new content and the player base has expanded a significant amount, then we might see it. Until then, I'm not sure. And I think when it comes to that type of plan, I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. I mean, they need to really release like the Age of Annihilation stuff, and that could take a little while before. I mean, this is all a process. If they ever do plan to, remake like old Heroscape, make it into new, it's going to be a process, and it's definitely going to take time. So yes, thank you, Wolf Hunter, for that. And then we have ChanceCat2857 on Reddit, who says, I disagree, and I think this is, let's see here, listen, hold on one second, because I hear an echo, and I want to make sure that, there. Hold on one moment. Sorry for the dead air. I had a channel on that shouldn't have been on. All right. Hold on, and I need to turn something else on. Okay. Just talk amongst yourselves for a second. There was a couple of things
you guys want to talk about.
If you could bring back one, if like they're not releasing any Heroscape stuff, if you could bring back one to be released, what's your unit or figure being re-released?
Does it have to be a figure that we've seen the card for?
Yes, it has to be a classic scape. It's just you get an airborne elite.
You're saying yeah. If we had to bring one of those back, because as like a revamp, like they did for Sergeant Drake.
Dragons are awesome.
Oh, Niflheim? Nice.
Nilfheim, yeah.
I mean, I have to say Nigaxa for obvious reasons. But other than like all of the Marro,
okay.
Yeah, maybe one of the dragons.
Maybe one of the dragons. Okay. Or how about we get an electric dragon that we never got in the first place?
Oh.
That'd be cool. I'd be down for that. I mean, Quohan's great. Yeah. But what other dragon could there be? Ooh, wait. No, we can't do that. We already have that. What other things could dragons spew out of their mouths?
Knowledge.
Yes, just straight up like physical books.
A dragon based off Thorman's faction.
That would be
the dragons
music,
talk, though, can't they?
That would be a bookworm at that point.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, so this is probably getting real deep, but
Mimring talks.
In Dungeons and Dragons, they have an amethyst dragon that breathes a cloud of I forgot what they describe, but it's like a cloud of inebriation. So if you get hit by it, it makes you drunk, but like really drunk.
That's cool.
Like not the good kind drunk. Like you start stumbling when you get hit by it. It's
when you say amethyst, I thought you were gonna be like it spews out like crystals and rocks. I'm like, yo, that's actually dope.
And you could always do that too. But yeah, they went pretty hardcore on their Gem Dragon series, and amethyst is like breath of inebriation. I'm like, what?
Oh, I'm
about to be friends with an amethyst dragon.
So anyway, I'll try not to interrupt myself in the future. I should be good now. Hello, Mega Silver there in the chat. It says Dramaception. We're going to get there. Anyway, all right. So next comment. ChanceCat2857 says, I disagree that it takes crazy amount of testing to price units well. Experienced players can tell the approximate points of most units with 10% or so of their true cost within 1 to 3 games. One doesn't need 20 games to see that Q9, Raylan, Taylord, Sudima, Jotun, etc. are all pretty off. Some weird units like Mohicans may take more time due to their strangeness, but they're the exception. The simplest solution is to have some experienced players play them a little. Their points should be close if those testers are competent. If they prove not to be, then once year or whatever, release a point cost adjustment list on the site for which pieces have their cost change. So, I mean, I don't know what point was made on a video that I released from
variable point costs.
Yeah, variable point costs, Delta.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't have an opinion on the playtesting. I know, Jason, you playtested some of your own stuff within your own games, so you might have an interesting comment on this. But it's, I don't think that was the huge complaint about just because playtesting should have already been done. There shouldn't have been much need for playtesting, I don't think.
Yeah, I remember when they announced it, people were kind of confused because they were like, wasn't this already done?
Still confused, but yes. Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
I think, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the reason for a lot of the changing price over time may not necessarily be to the initial play testing, but if new units come out that have new synergies with things that were before it, that's going to inevitably have some impact on an old unit. Mm-hmm. If it now buffs an old unit, that old unit now may be worth more points relative to what it was before, and that can throw its original point cuts off. So it's more of the game changing that required to reevaluate points, than necessarily bad play testing at the start.
Mm-hmm. Okay, for sure. Yeah, and say Ragai plays games. Comment saying reacception continues. Love it. And yes, hi Ragai. It's good to see you. My throat is a little off, so I'm hoping I get through this. But we're gonna try. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, Ragai. All right. Wait. Oops. Okay. Now this one, Wolf Hunter also says, left another comment. Says, I'm not really a part of any Heroscape community. I first play with my friends, and we all use my stuff since I'm the only one who has any. When I get the new Age of Annihilation set, I don't expect that to change. The conversation in this clip makes it sound like in Heroscape groups, most people are expected to bring their own figures, armies, like with Warhammer. Does that match with people's experience? So he's making kind of 2 points here, saying, and this is one demographic we really don't think too much about, just the guy who has Heroscape and owns it and just brings his friends over and they just play casual games and they love doing that. And it seems to me he's like saying, I don't plan to go any further than just buying Age of Annihilation and just playing it with my friends. And then second point is that when it comes to tournaments, and I already gave my answer to him on it, but when it comes to tournaments, do you have to bring your own stuff, or is there sharing? Now, Jeremy, Joe, I know you guys can talk about the tournament side of that. So, I mean, Joe, if you want to start and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I could really feel for this guy. Because, I come into the tournament scene with my own collection, and I don't have a full collection. I don't have multiples of commons. I don't have every single thing. And I'm very familiar with a good chunk of information about this game. So going into, a tournament setting, as if, hey, there's a 2-hour drive for me. Like, it's a 2-hour drive or 3-hour drive for most of my tournaments. So I go to. So, for example, yesterday I traveled 2.5 hours with a buddy of mine to Massachusetts, Springfield, and had a great day and played tournament matches. And yes, I had to bring my own stuff. But what I played against, majority of it I didn't have. I fought against a firestorm with Kurok and a bunch of fire elementals. It blew. I didn't like that. That was not fun. Sorry, Peter. It wasn't fun. I told him that at the day. I'm going to tell you again. It wasn't fun, okay? It was terrible. It's a really good army, but I don't have that. And then I also played against a bunch of not orcs. The dwarves. What are the dwarves called?
The VC or the axe
no.
grinders?
Axe grinders. That's it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have axe grinders. Axe grinders are also really, really good. So it's and could I have bought an army that might have been a little bit better? I also played it at an event that I was not familiar with whatsoever, which was control points. I've never played control points. So yeah, going into a tournament with what collection you have and having no knowledge, it's daunting. But I've been to enough of them. All of last year, I think a total of almost I think of 9. It was I was going once a month. It was nuts. It's nuts. Some of them twice, 2 in a month. I learned a lot. I still need to get a lot more commons. And not a lot, but 3 or 4 squads of each of some commons just to play some of the meta. I have to feel like I have to play the meta. I don't feel like I get to play what I really want to play. So that's not great. I feel like I'm going a little bit further away from what he's asking. Repeat the question.
Mm-hmm. Just the concern about taking armies to tournaments. I mean, do you have to bring your own? Is there possibility of sharing? How's the community involvement in that?
Oh yeah, so okay, that second part with sharing, right? So I know at ScapeCon, because I had brought only for ScapeCon 2, I only brought only Marro. I have a lot of Marro, and I'm like, Marro is gonna be my best bet for creating what I want to play, but also creating what I thought would believe to be meta armies. And so I didn't know at that point too. I didn't know anybody within the community or feel comfortable enough to ask, "Oh, hey, can I borrow 2 extra Marro Hounds because I only have 1 squad of them?" So it's like I feel like I wanted to play with my own, and I feel like it wasn't like it didn't feel right to ask, "Oh, hey, can I borrow this?" Because like, I don't have that. I feel like I don't want anything to happen to that. I know a lot of these units are quite expensive. If something happens, I don't want to have that responsibility on me. Mm-hmm. But now after a year or 2, and I've been to a lot of events, I've met a lot of people I've made to be quite acquaintances and friends in this community that go to these tournaments often. If I had say, hey, you know what, I want to play with Axe Grinders, because I want to play this meta. If no one was playing them, I would ask somebody. I would.
The community's pretty nice about it.
Usually. Yeah, no. Everybody, that's the one thing. If you join this community, like you're, as long as you have, a good good head on your shoulders, mm-hmm. You're yourself. Like we welcome you with open arms, man. Like these, because like I know a lot of people, meeting all these great people on the pod today, except for Josiah.
Dang.
You're coming in 2024, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So everyone
all these
else,
great people except for Josiah.
I know that's phrasing. That's phrasing.
That guy.
Phrasing.
Everyone I met at 2022's. Well, also I haven't met Jason yet in person, but So yes, also except for Jason. But yeah, so like I feel more comfortable now asking for and sharing for units. But yeah, it's daunting to go to an event. But I will say, from my experience going to events, and talking with people, because like for example, a friend of mine came for the first time with me. He didn't play. I'm a little upset that he didn't play, but he didn't. He was scared. He's not gonna admit that. I know, Eric. Okay, but he didn't want to lose. You're gonna lose. Trust me, you're gonna lose. Unless you play with people that are already in the meta and understand, what events you're going to and what you're playing. Otherwise, yeah, it's daunting, but it's fun. It's experienced. You're with great people, and they're so helpful. They will help you. Mm-hmm. Because no one wants to play against a noob and like absolutely like wreck you. No one wants that. Anyone I've ever played against always wants to help me because they want to play against the best version of what my army can offer.
Right.
And that right there to me is I have so much respect for that.
Mm-hmm. And Jeremy, you would concur with what Joe's saying, right?
Yeah,
I know, I took up a lot of space there.
No, you're good. It's because when I was purchasing Heroscape, it was when it was still in the market, right? Like when you could still go to Walmart and find it on the shelves. That's when I was buying most of my sets. That's most of what I have from my original collection. And then, of course, when I got back into it in like 2014-ish, I was trying to pick up stuff off of eBay and stuff like that. So for the most part, I do have a good collection, but there was the circumstance when I was younger, I didn't know, or I just didn't read it because I was a kid, right? Let's be honest. Like when you get into these games when you're young, you don't really follow all the rules. And I didn't understand the commons rule, right? Like that was the thing. It was like, oh, you can field multiples of them. And when I was buying this as a kid, my parents had the rule. It's like, yeah, you get 1 Heroscape set for doing your chores kind of thing. And it was like, oh, I want, I couldn't get another one of the same one because in their mind, they're like, you already have that one. Why do you want the second one? I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Because I didn't even think about the commons. So now it's like, oh my gosh, if I really want to field this army, I need like 3 or 4 of these. Like not just one. And there's some compositions I can't do because I have one squad of comets, and it's like it's caused a lot of issues. But there are people I've met. A shout out to Ginger Kid out there. He let me stay at his place, and he let me borrow pretty much anything that I needed to play the game. And so I was able to go into ScapeCon with everything I needed, brought my own stuff, and then was able to supplement it with his stuff. And by those 2 collections alone, I was able to play anything. And even like he had all the VC stuff, and he was like 3D printing everything. It was super cool, and he was super generous. Really, really kind of him to do that. And he offers that to anyone in the area. Like if you need pieces and you ask him ahead of time, he'll bring it with him, so you can use those pieces. You don't have to worry about not having things, because there is that one individual, and I know there are plenty of others. There was one time I think I was missing like a Kurok or something. No, it was a Kurok or the fire element. I was missing a fire elemental, and I asked another scaper, hey, can I borrow your fire elemental? I'll bring it back after this match. And he was like, yeah, sure, and hands it to me. I handed it back when I was done. Like it just, communication is a big part of it, of course, but there are individuals in the community that will arrive and be present and be okay with letting you borrow their stuff. Because as it stands in 2023, 2024, very difficult to get the numbers you need to field some really good armies. So, unless you're 3D printing, definitely consider asking around, because you'll be surprised. There are some really cool people out there that are okay with lending their stuff. As long as you bring it back and don't break it. You're good. So
take care of it, yeah. No, thank you, Jeremy.
So take care of it, and people will definitely lend you your stuff.
For sure. And Justin in the chat, hey Justin, there is saying, I think a lot of us have similar stories to Jeremy. Yeah, and I think most people are very, very gracious, and there's a lot of good sportsmanship within the community. Yep. It's one of the things I
really good environment in terms of
All right.
Just the community allowing you to borrow stuff, and they know it's not like, why don't you have that? Like I've never encountered a person being condescending because I didn't have 4 squads of fourth mass or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they're like, it's more or less, hey, do you want to play 4 squads of fourth mass? Here you go. That's more of what I've encountered in the times that I've been out there, and that's just really cool, because it's like there is an understanding out there that stuff is not easy to get. And so if you want to borrow and you ask nicely, absolutely, there are people that will do that for you.
Absolutely. All right, thank you for the comments, Wolf Hunter 333. Let's try to get to a few more. I know we're already over time.
Oh.
Wow, surprise. And see, Right Guy plays games.
I mean, for a comment section to go this far is actually an achievement for us.
Yeah, well, that's just Reddit. We just talked about the Reddit comments. We haven't gotten into the YouTube comments.
Oh, those are the Reddit comments.
Those were Reddit comments.
I didn't realize.
Yep.
Okay,
phenomenal.
Right Guy plays games. Also saying, great anecdote. I think the X Grinder argument is overblown. New players will never be able to get their hands on the old stuff.
It might be hard to buy it, but you will still be able to play it in some way or another. Yeah. People will give you an option.
Yeah, there are ways, but yeah, it'll take some effort. Right, guys.
But if you're lucky and you find a good set, buy that thing. Trust me, you will. If you don't want it, someone else will get it too. So you can buy it and then sell it to someone else. So.
Or just get a 3D printer. Look, I have.
Or get a 3D printer. Yeah.
Or you can just win some, via contest, which we'll do in a little bit. Right Guy also saying 3D printing and the generosity of the community will absolutely keep classic units in the hands of new players going forward. Yeah.
It's 3D printing is awesome technology. I thought, what was it? When they explained to me at some point they were planning on like sending some of that up to the moon and like printing stuff on the moon. Yeah. I was like, this is the future, isn't it? Like I was like,
the most sci-fi thing you do. You have a vat of goo that turns into figures.
Anything you just you have the software for it, you can get it, and I'm like, that's insane. That is so insane. And they've shown me some stuff, and I'm like, it's so crazy.
And I know we're kind of veering off on this. We got to get to comments in a second, but like Star Trek. And what's the machine that makes just anything? What's that called again?
Replicator.
Replicator.
Nice.
We're like just a few almost like a few steps away from that. Really, it's crazy.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, all right. So yeah, great comments. All right, let's move on to next. Let's try to get a few more. Like I said, there were a lot of comments also for those of you on YouTube. Thank you so much, and we'll try to get to a few. Wayne says here on this first YouTube comment, saying regarding old versus new Heroscape units, or old versus new Heroscape events, there's not necessarily a need for AOA only or classic only tournaments. Unique only tournaments are a lot of fun and would be a great way to bring new and classic units together. Also, new players can still get a hold of most classic unique squads for a low cost on eBay, or maybe some not so low on eBay. But yeah, point. Not to mention Finn and Thorgrim for Frostcop Paladins, if they're still synergized that way. We will see. And then Wayne also says, Marro Gnids, you're not knitting. Awesome. Yeah, for the contest. Yeah, love the pun. Just wanted to mention that real quick.
They win instantly for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Now you got to hold 2 giveaways.
Thank you, Wayne, for the comment. Garen X, I don't know who this person is, but says, fact check. I only made it to the first 2 Scape cons, missed number 3 due to a crazy job and a new kid, though I'm hoping to make it next year, as I still have a crazy kid. And keep at it, man. Keep at it. Be a good dad. But a new job. I do feel somehow validated being referred to as a competitive player by Gordon. Also, I thoroughly enjoyed all of Gordon's rants. I remember there being a 1-second clip of Gordon saying no in one of Joe's videos, which was hilarious. Yeah, Gordon, lovely man. I'm sure we'll have him on in the future. We'll have to plan for it, because it's like planning for some type of like military strike. But yeah, we'll plan for it. Let's see here. Okay, you're responding to Justin, Jeremy.
Yeah,
that's fine. And Justin, that comment there, we'll talk about in a minute. After we're done with these chats and the content, we're getting there, Justin. We're getting there. All right, and now Dysel commented on one of our videos, so I'm kind of psyched about this.
The community member that will always beat me. Always.
Yes. Yeah. She totally disemboweled me back in ScapeCon 2, and I loved every minute of it. Within a round, just within the first, like, we didn't even finish the first round. She just, boom, disemboweled. Just, yes, lovely. Anyway, Dysel says, I think it's doable to create stuff that isn't busted with classic Scape. Various customs projects have shown this is possible, and the original AOA I know was tested extensively against itself and with classic units, and can be played well with it. But Gordon is right that it's going to be very hard to create something where all units play well into an army made of pure classic if it's going to just be a bunch of uniques, doable but tricky, which could lead to bad play experiences for new players. I also think until common squads are prevalent among the new stuff, segregating events like that is a good call. Once common squads become more prevalent, then mixing the two, at least among competitive settings, will be much more doable. I understand Renegade's desire to not reprint things. I do think if enough people want reprints and Renegade thinks they can make money off of it, I could see it happening. Wouldn't hold my breath, but I can see a future where they shift their position from the no it currently is. And hold on 1 second. I think all of this is doable if Renegade has input from people with a lot of experience with the existing game and community, among other perspectives. I do think there is a very real risk to Renegade and the future of Heroscape. Hold on. Excuse me, sorry about that. If the existing community is ignored. And I agree with Gordon that catering directly to us, the longtime fans, has its own set of issues when you're trying to build a new customer base. But you also don't want a sizable chunk of your existing fan base to dislike the product, because that will make it hard to sell new players. Anyways, lots of interesting thoughts, y'all, and lots of interesting comments there from Dysel. It was like I said, y'all need to like look in the comment section of like Tales of Hal and these YouTube videos that she commented on. They were very, very good. And I don't know how much more of these comments I'm going to get to because we are way over time. I'm going to try to get to just this other big one from Aircroft. But there were plenty of them. And again, thank you everybody for commenting. I really appreciate the dialogue, the back and forth, and your perspectives on these things. Here, hold on one second. I need to take a drink. All right. So Aircroft says the obvious solution to this issue is to design many new units to be the strongest, specifically against common squads and units. And they could get even more specific to target the most problematic units, such as abilities that can negate the scatter ability, making Death Reavers much less potent, or bonding abilities, which are basically the crux of the matter. Another basic idea is to give certain units abilities that make them stronger against units that cost less points than themselves, via abilities that give them a bonus to their stats when battling, such as +2 attack and defense dice against those units, or the ability to make multiple attacks, leaving players with the decision to still play Squadscape and risk facing units specifically good against them, or to primarily play those anti-common units to counter the current meta, or to have a bit of both. Auras are another great underutilized option, just like Raylan's defensive aura ability. They could design units with a similar area of effect, abilities that negate certain abilities such as bonding or anything that increases the stats of other figures. These are literally just ideas off the top of my head, so I know that they could be improved upon. Here, hold on one second. I need to find yeah, okay. But pretending compatibility between existing Heroscape units and yet to be released ones is impossible. It's just completely untrue and actually makes their motives even more transparent, which is obviously maximizing profit. All right. So here, hold on a second. I'm going to take another drink. So again, good thoughts, good ideas, and there was more. There was like, I think almost like a dozen to 20 some comments from people, and again, appreciate the talking, the Discord from that. There's way more than I expected, and I love the dialogue, and thank you guys, and hopefully you guys can still continue the discussion via the comments on future videos and such. So I appreciate the support, appreciate the dialogue. All right, now give me a second. I'm going to mute my microphone so I can cough again, and then we're going to get into the comment.
I'm glad that topic. I'm glad that topic sparked so much attention. And it just sparked everyone's mind of like, oh, I need to put in my 2 cents. And I'm so glad that our meme review
supposed to be a fun time.
Got that. That was so awesome. Yeah. We need to do meme review more often, Ryan.
It gets more discussion.
You know how much that took to plan? I mean, I'm starting to collect memes now for this year, for the end of 2024. I mean, that takes time. That takes, going through memes.
A meme archivist, I see.
Meme archivist.
That's what I've turned into, among my other talents. That is now one.
Hold of the memes.
But let's get into
it's a horde, yep.
Let's get into this next segment, which is contest time. This is what we're giving away. And again, since we had a lot of people comment, we have a lot of names on this wheel. So some of them are actually you guys on the panel too, because I don't discriminate. Because I know, like, Marro Gnids are really hard to come by. And if you're looking to purchase some, they are usually pretty darn expensive. And to get 3 squads, we'll see who gets it. All right, so let's bring this up. Getting lots of names. We're gonna spin the wheel. and we will see who gets this. And this comes down to, again, I'm gonna like rehash the rules. All you had to do was comment on the last podcast live stream video on YouTube, or the subsequent video segments from that podcast that was done. So got a lot of names, and we will see who wins. Let's spin it. It is Justin!
Hey, nice.
Hey, and Justin's with us tonight too, so great. Good job, Justin.
Congrats.
And, yep. And that was for, so anybody who commented during the stream, or again, like made comments after, and has to be someone within the United States or like continental US, has to, you know, be able to ship within US. And I believe Justin is well within the country, so he is good. Congratulations, Justin. You just won 3 squads of Marro Gnids to add to your Heroscape collection.
Nice.
And I'll be definitely in contact with you later on this week. Yeah, Justin. He's like, what? Yeah, you won. You just won the 3 squads of Marro Gnids, dude. Congratulations.
You got the Gnids just in time.
You got the
Nice.
Yeah.
Double.
Here come the puns. Here come the puns. Yes, congratulations, nice. Justin. You got it. All right. Now, let's start talking. I know we got some Renegade comments. Let's talk Renegade first. We're gonna go a little softball here. We're going to talk about what Renegade showed off, and this might just take a minute. But we're going to talk about the image and what Renegade said. I think, was this around Christmas or New Year's? When was that?
With the image or
the image of the Kyrie?
I thought that was for Christmas.
That was a Christmas surprise.
Okay,
yeah, it was like
Christmas surprise,
right before the Christmas break started.
Right. So, just gonna show it because some people probably already forgotten about it. But yeah, we have this. I don't know why, you know.
Oh no.
But here, let's just zoom this in a second. Okay, Renegade Game Studios, and this was just on a special email to those who are subscribed to Renegade Game Studios, meaning that it's still spread everywhere, because you know certain people got it and they throw it on Discord and Facebook and such. Anyway, it says, Dear Heroscape fans, as the year draws to a close, we find ourselves inspired by your excitement and support thus far. We're bubbling with anticipation, eager to embark on an incredible journey with you in 2024. But wait, there's more. No, I'm kidding. 'Tis the season for surprises, isn't it? In the spirit of the holidays, we couldn't resist the urge to gift you a sneak peek. A very small teaser of what's to come. As a special treat for those of you who signed up for our Heroscape newsletter, we're happy to share this never-before-seen character art for the Kyrie warrior. Help me, Jeremy.
Love to attack.
Yeah. Love to attack.
Love to attack. Love the attack. Okay.
Yes. They forgot. They did mention they forgot the umlaut. So there's supposed to be an umlaut on the A.
Umlaut's canon, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, that was funny when they mentioned that. I was like, oh no, they actually remembered.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Like, I kind of misspelled there. Yeah, you're right. And then it says below here, so we get an image here, a little image. Heroscape returns 2024. This provides a glimpse into the tapestry of heroes and villains that will soon battle across the landscape of Valhalla. This coming year will unfold the beginning to a saga of remarkable tales. I think they took that from me. I'm just going to say that they took that from me. Remarkable tales. Why would you put that in there? You know.
Yeah. Very specific word.
Yes, it is. Fierce rivalries and daring conquests. We can't wait to share more with you in 2024. Be sure to tune in to the Heroscape Reveal stream March 1st during Renegade Con. Save the date. Wishing you the happiest of holidays and a new year filled with anticipation for the adventures that await us. See you soon, Team Renegade. So, what are our thoughts? And let's just go around first. What are our feelings about this? Jason, go ahead.
It's a cool piece of artwork. I mean, what else? I guess I don't know what else I have to add to it.
Yeah.
presumably it's the basis of a gaming miniature, and sure.
Yeah, and actually here, let me just show something real quick. It's actually here. I can bring this other image
Am I
up.
missing some hidden thing in the image that I just not seen?
No. But this image, and it's not. I don't know why it's not zooming in here. Hold on a second. No, zoom out. Okay, it's not. But no, my computer's not deciding to work. Yeah. Here, hold on a second.
Wait, what? I have to look. Now I have to figure out what image you're pulling up.
Okay, Kyrie Warrior of Utgard. This was from Avalon Hill's Age of Annihilation release. So this is the miniature, one of the miniatures they set. Similar, almost the same as the digital image here that they released.
Oh yeah.
On Renegade Studios. So yeah. So I just wanted to show that a second.
Yeah, a huge difference between concept art and a 3D image. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. And Justin saying, I went out and got a third squad of minions after this reveal.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that character too, which both like Avalon Hill was excited about it, and then Renegade made mention of that character during the Meet the Team. So they seem to have a very strong what's the word? Draw to that Kyrie Warrior in specific. So I'm curious to see what that draw is. Like, what was the power that got everyone excited? Because obviously everyone else is out of the loop, but somehow this character is really cool. That's all we know. I did find the initial discussion on the subject that was really interesting, because of course the subject immediately came up, asked if it was AI generated image, which it's a very, very hot topic right now in the creative community. And so Scott came into the chat to say, no, it's not AI, we don't use AI here in Renegade, and no one believed him. So that kind of that was like, I don't know.
No one believed him.
No one believed him. They were just like, but based on the way it looks, it definitely looks like AI. Maybe you don't know it's AI, and it's just, I'm like,
a good AI tell though is that if a hand has like 6 or 7 instead of 5,
the hands,
that's a good tell, and I don't see that in that.
So my thoughts is, I don't think it's AI art. I think this is part of a box art or some larger character spread. So they didn't. Probably that's what explains why some of the wing details aren't fully realized, and the perspective.
There's something in the back or something.
Yeah. They're probably going to have it be covered with a bunch of other things, like the big box art we've seen. So I think that's what I'm trying to be an optimist through all the doubt and stuff like that, because it is kind of a weird angle, but I don't know, it would be actually hard for an AI to kind of think of that angle, I believe. So I'm trying to be optimist about it. I like that it harkens back to the old booster pack style.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
box art, it looks like the Arbok Viper or the Roman soldier in front, and it has that same lighting and color scale. So it's better than the CGI Fortnite renders we got before, so I'll take anything over those.
Oh, yeah.
And Joe, you had some thoughts on this, because I talked to you about this privately. What was those thoughts again?
I mean, look, I if anything, it was like, is that because I think that what you were trying to reference is the fact that this Kyrie was part of the stretch goals. So are they alluring to the idea that this is going to be part of one of the first releases that we're going to get, which is one extremely exciting because we're getting. I mean, they did say we're getting all of the stretch goals, all of them, which is super, super exciting. Same goes for Scatherith and the bug one that's riding. Which were supposed to be exclusive, and you would never get them again, type of deal, which we all know, bad idea. So seeing this Utgard character, this Kyrie, be kind of like the forefront of what to show. Could it be like, this is one of the units that we're gonna give you guys soon? Or it could have been like, hey, artists, can you guys just grab a unit, draw this weekend, and let's give them something because we don't have shit yet. Yeah, so let's.
Okay, there's your swear word for the night. Okay.
Everybody gets one. Each of us get one. Okay, that's how this works.
So choose.
So could that be also the case? Who knows? We won't know because they won't kiss and tell. So. Yeah. But I do find it interesting. It was that particular Kyrie because it was part of the stretch goals, not, it wasn't like one of the critters or the, main people that we were getting in the Vanguard box.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because the Kyrie, I don't think they revealed that till much later down the line. Yeah. We didn't even know they were going to be a thing until, the magazine that was talking about it.
At the very least, we did get an understanding that, okay, we are getting a Kyrie here, sometime down the line. That's one thing we are working on. Although I'd say in comparison here, compared to like the box art of Age of Annihilation, they got to where you see everything. This just felt to me kind of like, that's nice, and then immediately forget about it like a week later, technically. So it's is there much cause for celebration?
It felt like in the comics of Marvel, there's the Marvel Civil War, which is like there's a big 2-page spread panel of like all the characters fighting, and then the movie is just like 6 dudes running at each other in a parking lot.
I know exactly what you're talking. Yeah,
that dissonance is kind of how I felt. I was like, oh, cool, it's a piece, something to chew on for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to sound too critical, but I do want to scrutinize it just a little bit, because I'm just like, does it make me really, really excited? My throat's sore.
I'm hoping they're holding back. Because Avalon Hill Renegade has really good box art. Like, just all their games. Like, I'm not a Power Rangers fan. I wanted, like, a poster of their Power Rangers box art because it looks so cool. Like, it's, they're really into the 2D hand-drawn style, which I really like. So I'm really,
nice.
I'm going to ask my sister, who's an art teacher, to evaluate this picture to see if she knows anything or notices anything weird about it.
I hope March 1st we just get dumped on. Like March 1st we just get absolutely dumped on with
context
everything.
Here. Context. Phrasing.
Well, yeah, phrasing. Well, I mean that could mean many things, but I mean in the good way, if that makes sense. Yeah. With just, I hope we get a ton of artwork of details on minis of just everything box, just dump truck full, just basically
I want to say
overwhelming.
I want to say it's Mega Silver in the community who's actively been using Renegade products in the past, like the Renegade games. I think it was like Power Rangers game, and he explained it in Discord a couple times. I've seen him do it.
Chat, so yeah.
Yeah, he explained it a couple times. So kind of just like reiterating that and underlying what he said. Renegade doesn't tell us anything until that day. And then by the time the content comes out, by the time release is available, we'll know about 90% of what's going to be coming out. So March 1st is probably is I would say, I don't know if I want to mark it as such, but I would say it'll be the make or break it, because they are putting everything onto March 1st for us. They're telling us look forward to March 1st, and we are all anxious for information. So we're looking at March 1st, and if they don't deliver on March 1st, I don't know how much further it can go at that point, because it's just like that's the point. Like they gotta drop it hard. So
and now
he's hoping March 1st will be a crazy day.
With that being said, let's get into the next segment.
Yeah, because there's the reason why they gotta drop hard.
Which is the reason why we got a lot of people joining us tonight. The actual drama taking place. And so we're going to talk about this a little bit, and I know there's some comments here in the chat. I'll look at those in a second. Now, instead of rehashing what's already been said, we know what's out there, and I'm trying to present this in a way to where, say it in a good way, so it doesn't sound so bad, and see if you can. Anybody knows that movie reference?
Put it in just put a clip, edit a clip in. I'm giving you more work.
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. Yeah, I probably couldn't I?
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
At least if I have it in a segment, yeah. Anyway, so there are videos out there by, and I'll name him, Tabletop Bro, Sir Heroscape, now Rye Guy as well, talking about this little bit of drama that's been happening in like the last 10 days or so. And not wanting to really get in deep discussion about what's already been rehashed, talked about already, I recommend everybody go to, there's links in the description below on YouTube for those videos. Check them out, form your own opinion, your own thoughts about it. And we might even have some discussion on this in the backstage. And if you guys don't know, anybody listening don't know about the ToV backstage, it is a Discord only part of the ToV podcast that we have additional to the ToV podcast, which is like basically behind the paywall. You can join the Discord for free, but the backstage itself is usually behind the paywall, which we'll probably get into more depth on that. Link to the Discord below on YouTube as well, or Discord, Patreon, which we're doing. So, but what we're going to talk about when it comes to this situation with Renegade and the controversy, we're going to do 3 points that I thought was probably interesting that weren't really discussed much about so far. So let's get into the first point with this. All right. While I take a drink, hold on. Okay. So, and this was my initial thought as well when all this news came out, was that what is, like, think worst case scenario here, okay? If anything that's been rumored to be said comes to pass, and that's the worst case scenario, and all that comes to pass, how do we handle it, and what do we do? And let's start first with Josiah.
Starting first.
Yeah, and
right.
like you know, worst case scenario, like what should we do as individuals and as a community with this? I mean, does it really stop anything? I think it hurts a bit, but what are your thoughts that what we could do as a community and or as ourselves individually about it before my voice goes? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a lot of different thoughts on the post itself. I don't like a post without a thesis or really a point of action. So worst case scenario is that essentially your old units are ineffective and that this game is just a completely different experience. And I guess that's the hypothetical. That's what most people are afraid of. I don't know. It's hard for me to make an evaluation until I see what results in, because honestly, like, you have to try pretty hard to make something not compatible with your old stuff. Like, Heroscape's a very that's why most people love it. It's a sandbox as well as a system. You know, everyone can make their own custom fairly easy. So the worst case scenario is that they do a run and you get a bunch of cool figures and they cancel it after the first release, and then the community will just kind of continue where it's at. So I don't want to overblow things, but or underblow things, but worst case scenario is we tried it out and we just pick up where we left off with some new figures to use, and if it's completely unworkable, I think we'll find a way to make it work.
For sure. Any other thoughts on this, Jeremy?
Yeah, I just I don't know. It's difficult to say because I know the conversation has been going on about how if it ends up becoming a entirely separate game, like you can't use your classic pieces with it, or they didn't playtest the classic with it, so it's like nothing matches very well. You're trying to do your compositions and it's like, oh, their version doesn't really work with what we used to have. It's just like, at best, like whoever wants to use those characters can, kind of thing, but we'll probably end up having to put some rules in tournaments and be like, look, this doesn't really match up in terms of like competitive scene and whatnot, and then they're probably, because they already said they already have plans for organized play, so chances are they're just going to do their own, like, and this is kind of separate topic, but like they're already going to be doing their own thing, right? So it's like, at best, we could probably just do our own thing, do it the way we've done it before. Like, that hasn't changed, probably won't change, because heck, there's still people I meet that don't want to use Dungeons and Dragons characters at all, and it's like they stick to wave 1 through 9 and the master sets, and it's like, so we have all kinds of individuals and preferences in terms of units and drafting, and if Renegade doesn't match up with what we have grown to play and understand rules wise, mechanics wise, and whatever, we're probably just going to consider it just in the same vein. Like, oh, hey, if you want to play Renegade, you can. If you don't want to, we're not going to force you, either way. Because, I mean, think about it. There's people that are using Arena of the Planeswalkers. Like, there's an actual group that uses Arena of the Planeswalkers characters as Heroscape. Like, they were working right now to kind of mesh the two. And that's a very niche group, because it's like a lot of people who saw Arena of the Planeswalkers. Yeah, right? Like, it's just, the thing is, the people that will like it will play it, and the people that don't like it will not play it. You know what I mean? And I think even if it comes out to be good, we'll probably still have that, because then people will be like, well, it's not Classicscape, or it's not, what we knew from Wave 9 or Wave 13, or, everybody's got what they enjoy the most, and they know their preferences, they know what they like to play, and we'll probably all just kind of filter into those categories like we naturally do, like we've always been doing. And I think Renegade's going to find that out. Like, if they want their stuff to match better with what is already available on the market, then they got to do some playtesting with the Classic. And that's considering rumors. Like, if that's not what they're doing right now, they're going to find that their characters won't work really well with what we know in the past. And then we'll have another group of people playing those characters, and then we might have a Renegade Customs group, because that's how that kind of is born from that concept, because it's like, if that's going to be a separate thing. But yeah, like I said, I think mainly the main point is that if it works, it'll stay with everything else. We'll keep playing the game as we've always had. If it doesn't work, it's just going to create a niche community, just like the others have, just like Raiden Planeswalkers, D&D Scape, all that stuff. And yeah, life will go on, and we'll just keep playing Heroscape, because that's the thing. Heroscape's not dying. Like, it never died. Like, we've been playing it this whole time. It's just, you get another option now. Another. Hey, you want to try this out? Oh, it doesn't really work out. All right, back to Wave 9. Things like that. So that's what I've seen from it. Yeah, it would, and like Rai Guy's saying, if the backlash is so bad it actually causes a negative experience, I would feel sad. But I think a lot of people, especially a lot of old-time community members, are really, really good at maintaining like community events, community spirit, and we'll probably just be like, you know what, let's keep going. We still got the website up, things like that, and just keep doing our thing. So.
Yeah, I guess the worst case scenario would be Renegade says you can't 3D print, you can't really shut down the Heroscapers, and then they cancel the line. You're just like, that's the ultimate. I don't think it would ever go that low, but that'd be the worst case scenario.
Yeah. Right, they just lock the IP. That would be wild.
Now,
I'm like, oh my goodness.
And I'll ask Jason a question, kind of a different thought on this subject. Now, when it comes to like. Jason, when it comes to, because I know like you're a casual player, you're not really in Heroscape tournament scene. For like casual that aren't part of the tournament community, or the or new players, do you think based on these rumors, again, if these rumors are false, then then they're false. But if there's any validity to these rumors, do you think Renegade is going to have a challenge when it comes to introducing new players to the current community, or casual players to the current community, or do you think they could keep that isolated?
I think there is a challenge where if Renegade here kind of basically throws the old community under the bus, that's going to create a lot of negative commentary online and possibly in person, to where, you know, some new players looking at has the box of Age of Annihilation in their hand, and some guy comes up to him and say, yeah, well, they screwed us over, we don't like them, or something like that. It's not going to be, you know, a good thing to do that to the Heroscape community, but the problem that the challenge that Renegade has, we know from Age of Annihilation, that the Heroscape community itself may not be enough to sustain the game as it is anyway, so they got to do a lot of marketing to new players and get new players in the game to have the thing even survive. So it's a very fine balance they have to walk. It really is. Yeah. Can they do it? Yes. If we go back 20 years to MechWarrior Dark Age, that game was a bit of a screw you to the classic Battletech community. Those of us who played it, who were Battletech fans, we kind of tolerated it, but it definitely was not Battletech in any way, shape, or form. But it lasted for a couple of years kind of as its own thing, so it can happen. And there was very similar attitudes towards that game from existing Battletech players at the time, as we kind of see right now with Heroscape players and these rumors. So a game can survive, but yeah, it's not a great thing for them to do. But they got a lot of challenges ahead of them.
Joe, what do you think about that when it comes to casual players or new players?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the greatest fear and it being talking to the casual newcomers, or, you know, I think of my girlfriend's nieces and nephews that I've been trying to introduce Heroscape to, and they're like, they look at the board, they look at the figures, like, oh my god, that's awesome, you know, whatever. They don't know the nuances of why I should pick the axe grinders over the Gnids. And why does Joe like the Gnids way more than these axe grinders? You know, like that whole thing, right? Like, they're gonna see the new stuff. Kids are gonna, you know, speaking to the new generation of people being introduced to Heroscape. They're gonna see the models. They'll see the terrain. They're like, oh, this is awesome. You know, mommy, daddy, please, can I have this awesome game? And they're gonna go, sure, no problem. Their parents are not gonna know what it is. They're gonna pick it up, they're gonna put it down, they're gonna open it up, they're gonna play it, and they go, this is boring. That's my fear. like they if all any of these rumors are true, and they start playing the game, and they're like, I love this model, I want to play this model, and they learn how to play the game, and they go, this is boring. And they just never play it again. I don't know. I'm gonna blow up.
That's a fear, yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, how dare you say this game is boring? How dare you? Like, how could they really make this game boring? So yeah, that's ugh.
At least it makes it feel any better. That challenge is not unique to Heroscape. It's the problem that every tabletop game developer could possibly have.
Right.
I mean, no, true. Yeah, no, definitely.
At least you got the sale, though. That's the important part. If they buy the miniature,
they bought it. Yeah,
they find it boring. Well, Renegade still made some money.
No, for sure. I mean, look. You look at what game do you guys all know? Is Fallout 76? Does anyone know what Fallout 76 is?
Yeah,
that's the last game I ever pre-ordered. I never pre-ordered a video game.
That's hilarious.
And I guess let me say, the reason why I say that is not because the game necessarily bad. I had no one to play it with. I didn't know that it's going to be some MMO thing. I was hoping to be more cooperative, old school Fallout. But anyway,
true.
That is
but like, you know, that game did get better over patches over time, but that came out as a buggy mess. So they got all the sales, and then people started to stop play it and realized it was trash. So
right.
That's.
It definitely depends on how Renegade views this. Is this a just a flash in the pan, quick money scheme, get the people who are heavily invested, or do they have like a long term? This is an event game. This is going to be the next Warhammer.
Right.
This is going to be the next.
I hope not, because that
D&D
first
again.
is a very hard approach. That's not probably the best approach on things. That's building something to fail.
It definitely is.
Wait, which format?
The first one that he mentioned.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, even
quick bucks or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's you have to try really hard for that to kind of come see through.
Yeah.
Right. And
I do like what Roy Guy said about the new members of the community. I do. That's what I was really looking forward to, is getting some new blood, new people in, some new perspectives. And I would hate for that door to be getting closed off because, one, we as a community are just so bent backwards about the new designs that we just close anyone off, or the new designs are so bent backwards themselves that no one wants to play them. So
Right.
it's definitely it's a tightrope.
Right. But I think overall, I think you guys have it right to where the community involved will be, good or bad, will be one of the driving forces to make anything happen. So we just gotta continue sticking with it, and like we said in the comment, be in that community that is very open to new players and willing to share and willing to want your opposing player to be the best that they can be, for sure. So I hope we continue as a community to do that. Now, going question 2, or topic 2 of the 3 that we came up with tonight, and this is going to be me playing devil's advocate a little bit, because in Sir Heroscape's video, he made a very interesting point, and so we're gonna go with this for a second. And so one of the things that Sir Heroscape said near the end of his video, I believe, was his guess, his prediction, that the Age of Annihilation that Renegade is releasing could be a self-contained game outside of the Heroscape core game. And he gave a good example of what he meant when he says a Heroscape core game. Like Heroscape core game is just class escape, could have C3V in there, but basically your OG Heroscape miniatures. And then outside of that core could be Arena of the Planeswalkers, Marvelscape, stuff like that, to where those aren't usually integrated in with Corescape because they don't mix well. They don't do well. So it is Sir Heroscape's prediction or guess that maybe what Renegade is doing is having AOA stuff just synergize with AOA stuff and it be its own core game, and not synergizing with any of the class escape or anything like that. So now the reason why I say play devil's advocate here is that if that is Renegade's case, at least for some of it, it's definitely a business decision. It would be, I mean, again, this is all based off rumors and hearsay, but as far as a business decision goes, I can kind of understand that if they want AOA functioning as a core game right away, to just isolate it in its own pocket. That is a business decision. Is it the best business decision? I don't know. But I can see from that perspective, if that's the case, one of the reasons that they do it. I just wish they were a bit more clear on it. But that's point 3. So hold on one second. So the question I want to ask you guys: what do you think about this? If this is the case, and I understand why it would make people upset. Then nothing merges with synergizes with class escape. But if this is the case, and I'll start first with Joe. What do you think about this perspective? Good or bad? If this is one of the reasons, I mean, it doesn't mean Renegade's doing everything right or wrong. But and Justin saying I've always combined Marvel with Classic. Okay, exception. But Joe, what do you think? What do you think about this?
Yeah. I mean, look, we kind of already do this stuff now. So it's not a huge deal if everything's separated. it all comes down to is what is their Age of Annihilation gonna function and be fun? Like if I just go and play with Marvel right now, I'm gonna have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to play as I want to do like a Spider-Man versus Venom match, and just throw a bunch of other units in there, for fun. Like as Justin was saying, it's like I always play with Marvel. Awesome. I never knew about anyone playing with the Planeswalkers with Heroscape. I've always wanted to do that. I just never put a thought to it.
Yeah,
to actually
there's a whole
give it a
custom
shot.
group for it. I know.
Yeah,
which was crazy when I found out.
Hopefully I'll look into that this year. So, as long as it's fun, that's great. That's good. But yeah, it just has to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a tough business decision call, and Rye Guy is saying AOA as a branch doesn't make much sense from a business standpoint, in my opinion. Arena of Planeswalkers and Marvel were the same, and they weren't very successful, even with massive IPs behind them. Yeah, I think that's a valid point when it comes to that as well. Jason, what do you think about this? Like having AOA as its own core game? Because I mean, you build your own like miniature like war games when it comes to space combat. What do you think about that?
There's a good chance they're going to go that route, or at the very least, if it is kind of compatible with Classicscape, it's not. They're not going to like I was saying. They're not going to actually try it out because here's the financial problem they have. Renegade's selling you a game. Renegade wants you to buy game products from them. If you go online and buy some old Heroscape guy on eBay, not only is Renegade not getting a single penny of that, you have new players that are taking their gaming budget that could be going to Renegade is now going to some random person. And that's going to obviously cause potential financial problems for Renegade going forward. So as much as you want these guys to be fighting Age of Annihilation people, there's no financial incentive right now for Renegade to do that. Absolutely none, and it's even competitive to them. So yeah. So unless there's some way for, Renegade to start selling old stuff, which they're not going to do because there's a lot of reasons why they wouldn't do that right now. Right. I don't think there is much of a business interest they have to make the games compatible.
Yeah,
at least make a serious effort to make them compatible.
It's very tough on that point. Yeah.
What I would think they're more likely to do is make Classicscape just kind of not necessarily intentionally try to make it compatible. It maybe works, maybe it doesn't. But when you get to the competitive play scene, it's going to be Age of Annihilation only for official competitive tournaments. They may have like an unlimited or extended universe thing where you bring the old stuff into it. But for your typical competitive stuff going forward, it's probably going to be Age of Annihilation only.
Mm-hmm. Now, and with that being said, would that mean that when we see these two waves on March 1st, could it be possible, and I'll throw this to you, Josiah, would it be possible then that we're probably might see, if they're looking to do tournaments come August, these first two waves, they might be a lot of miniatures. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think it's just good to get in your mind that, Heroscape was a game that was released a long time ago, and the figures aren't readily available. I think Renegade is focused more on a competitive landscape.
Thank you for making me feel my age, by the way.
But yeah, I mean, you gotta think, we've been playing it, but for a company to actually produce and maintain the IP, it's been over a decade for this. It's the closest thing I can honestly think of is Star Wars. They made the original trilogy. There was like a 20-30 year gap. Then they made the prequels, which everyone kind of didn't like at the time because it was so different. Give it 20 years, people kind of love the prequels now. So it's kind of there's definitely a generational gap. There's definitely a business gap, different companies. So I don't have a problem with them not including Original Escape. I think that's to be expected. I think in the future they explore some creative ideas to bring some things at, but it definitely you need to determine where are we in the reboots to revision kind of category? Are we in a total reboot? Are we starting Heroscape over from scratch? Are we kind of like a partial reboot where there's the lore still exists, but it's different now? Or are we just kind of picking up right where we left off, you know? So when Marro happened, D&D happened, maybe we won't talk about that. And then now we're going to do, you know, Age of Annihilation. After that, we're going to do Ragnarok, and then we're going to do New Beginning. You know, like, are we going to continue the story, or are we starting just completely over? Is what I'm more interested in.
The lore side, and we'll probably get into that on another podcast too. Rye Guy also says, like Dysel said, you can have both. Avalon Hill hit the balance. No reason to abandon the old community for an amorphous new player base that doesn't actually exist yet. And with that, Jeremy, what do you think about that? I mean, can there a balance be made? Do you think it's too late? I mean, it's kind of a mess if everything is how it seems.
Because the thing is, like, I was genuinely under the impression they were just going to release AOA as it was.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the thing is, like, we already have these 30 cards, and if they're planning on changing things, that means those 30 cards are obsolete. So then we're going to end up having to figure out what you prefer when you're playing. Do you want the original AOA version that was released, or do you want the Renegade version of the same character? Because they have the STLs for all those characters, right? And they told us that all of those will be released at some point. So with different powers, different abilities, and then the suggestion out there that it's going to be an entirely separate game, it's just like, I don't know. The whole thing makes me nervous. I want to give them a chance as a company, especially with how much effort they've put out there. But at the same time, it's like, man, March 1st better be the best. Like, just there's gonna be they got so much to present on March 1st to get kind of regain that like footing that I prior to what I thought was when they were just going to release it, and then that was it, and then they would start bringing their own stuff. If they're already starting now with making their own stuff with what they were given, then it's just going to be like, okay, let's, we all were looking forward to what Avalon Hill had planned. What are you going to introduce that will be, I guess either equal or comparable or better than what Avalon Hill had planned? That is now what they have to do, is somehow improve on the design if that's what they're trying, or just show that what they have envisioned is much better. And then it's like, that's a big task. Are you sure you want to do that? Like, so yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping there's lots of discussions going on right now, like about the subject.
Right. And
so curious.
Yeah.
Rye Guy is also saying, maybe I'm jaded, but I don't think it's a business decision. I think it's a lack of skill, experience, and or management that they can't satisfy the old and new player bases at the same time. And look, we're gonna get into point 3 in a second, but I mean, I think looking at it, when March 1st shows up, and that, I mean, I know for sure that I'm gonna get this stuff just to see how it plays, just to see how it works. If it's not like incredibly obvious come March 1st that, oh my goodness, this looks like a disaster. If there's anything but that going on that day, I'm gonna get this stuff, see how it plays. If it's even close to what it should be, if there's some headaches, then okay, fine. But if it's still playable, then okay. I'd rather do the scrutinizing than to see the absolute results of things. And again, we're speculating, again, off a rumor. We're not 100% sure on this, but it's very close. But yeah, I think there is a lot of things that Renegade needs to show in order to build trust back, even if there was trust in the first place. And
being a Heroscape fan, you have a lot of disappointment from corporate companies. We've been kind of thrown around a lot, so Renegade is getting a lot of that built up resentment and hate, so that we've stored for a decade, from manager to manager to manager to manager. So they really need to work on just, I hope they just realize that we need to set a level of goodwill once we get going. We need to hit run in, interact with the community, really get down on their level and say, hey, sorry we had to be quiet for a year. We just want to make sure everything's here we go. This is Heroscape. It's awesome. Let's play this game. Is what I'm hoping. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt until I see a card. If it's if they're terrible, I'll rip into them. But for now, there's nothing to talk. There's just all. We're making our own news because they don't have any.
And this will lead us into point 3. And I'll just to finish off point 2 though. For me personally, no matter what happens, it's just going to be fun source material for whatever I do for Tales of Valhalla, Aftermath Chronicles seasons 4, 5, 6, and beyond. So it's going to be fun no matter what. So now, let's get into point 3, and this is where I kind of take the gloves off. I've been nice so far. Now I'm going to be a little, I'm going to be a little scrutinizing here. I was like, oh, okay, what's going on? All right. So point number 3. And this is a thought that I had when they announced AOA. Okay, when it was over the summer, it was actually during Gen Con that they said we're bringing back Age of Annihilation. Now, they never said how that was going to come about, whether they were going to keep anything, but it was assumed that when they said, when Scott G said, we're bringing back Age of Annihilation, everything from Avalon Hill, it was assumed it was going to be what Avalon Hill produced. Maybe that might make a little tweaks, that's understandable. But the core set, the core system, was going to be what Avalon Hill produced. Now, this is the type of thing that ticks me off. Where is the transparency here? Because Renegade hasn't said a thing the past 10 days. Now, they don't have to. I'm getting a little worked up here. They don't have to do a thing. It's their IP. It's their business. I understand that. But at the same time, where is that transparency? It's and as far as I'm concerned, I mean, and again, you guys can say, Ryan, you're completely wrong about your position on this, and I'll let you guys talk in a second, but just let me rant a second. It's my guess that they're not going to say anything about this, and that could be the good call. It might not be, but from what concerns me is that, and one of the things Rye Guy said in his video was the fact that, losing trust. And Rye Guy saying, I never trusted Renegade to begin with because of what happened to HasLab. Trust is gone. And trust really needed to be built up again. And I'm paraphrasing Rye Guy. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rye Guy there. But trust needed to be built, and I'm just not seeing it right now. There's no reason for me to have any type of trust in Renegade right now. And kind of based off what I'm just saying when it comes to the transparency part, saying one thing and now we kind of see, again, this is all rumor. This could be completely false. There's always that possibility. It could be completely false. But based on the rumors, it's just there seems like there's a lot of falsehood here, and our expectations of what was being told to us are not being met. And that just kind of gets me a little upset on that. Where is that transparency? Can scrutiny be handled by the developers of this company? Because in any work we do, we're gonna get scrutiny. And how do you deal with that when you do? Are you silent about it? Are you gonna just do ad hominem attacks against the people? Or are you gonna actually learn from it? Even if you disagree, learn, why do you disagree with somebody? So anyway, that's my little rant. That is point 3. Jason, tell me, what do you think? Do you think I'm wrong about this? Do you, do you have your own thoughts on this? Because I mean, honestly, AOA, that's what they announced. That's what we said we're getting, and now we're just like, okay, then where is it? You're completely. It seems like you're completely changing it. So what do you think, Jason?
Right now, I'd say if Renegade were to say anything at all, there's no winning strategy for them.
Mm-hmm.
Their options would be to either come out and refute everything or most of the stuff that's in these posts, which is going to result in people saying that they're a bunch of liars and they're just hiding and covering things up, which is not a winning result for them. Or they could come out and confirm one or more of these things as accurate, which people are already upset about, and it's not a winning strategy for them. Honestly, their best bet is to wait till March 1st when they have a bunch of cool pre-painted miniatures to show off, and people are excited about that. And they're not going to really care a whole lot about changes in how the miniatures works. I really don't think most people be really sold on how the rules of the various miniatures worked under in Age of Annihilation. Maybe they are. I don't know if that's the community really likes how those figures play at the moment, or they don't play. But I think when they come out with pre-painted miniatures, that'll probably make people not care about all this stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah, for sure. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, the transparent. I've said this from the get-go. My trust with these guys right now, is simply like, show me, don't tell me, show me. Mm-hmm. If you have nothing to show, okay, that's very clear. You have nothing to show. That's been very clear to me. So, if you're just gonna say, tell me, whatever. So yeah, if they were gonna from the get-go gonna be like, hey, we're gonna give you guys Age of Annihilation, but we are going to change everything, because the way that Avalon Hill did it, we were not a fan of. We see a vision for this, and then you have a mission statement and explain why, and everyone goes, okay, I can understand that, or you know what? No, I don't like this at all.
Yeah, disagree with it, but you know what?
Yeah,
you do what you do.
Right, and so it's like, hey, we're gonna rework things. We're gonna, make it good, to our liking, and then we'll talk to you in a couple months. Okay, good, great. Have they done that? No, no. So,
and I like Josiah said, community goodwill.
Yeah, yeah. They need that be on our side, and if they can't handle us, how do you handle the Transformers community, the G.I. Joe community, and Power Rangers? Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, I think majority of those games are RPGs. I don't think. I mean, maybe one of them the Power Rangers has a miniatures game. Mm-hmm. But even so, it's still, you're dealing with those giants of communities. And we're like 2,000 people.
To be fair, and against my own argument, it's not like they haven't communicated at all. Lee did communicate with Tabletop Pro a little bit on the Heroscape Discord. So, I mean, I will give them that. There is a little communication. I don't think it's enough. And again, I hope that we can get Lee or Rowan or Scott G on the podcast sometime, because I really would love a discussion with them, no matter what the case, because if they love Heroscape, then I would rather allow them to talk and explain their position openly and honestly. I have no problem with that. So here's hoping for that. Jeremy, what do you think?
I'm on the same concept. March 1st, they have a lot of work to do for that. Oh yeah, and I do want to try to give some credit. I know Lee's been trying to engage the community here and there, but her role is game producer, if I understand it, has put her outside of the field. It's like she doesn't know what goes on with playtesting. People have asked her, and she's like, I don't know what's going on with playtesting. Like, that's not my thing. Her current thing right now, she mentioned that she's working on the master paint background. So like she talked about being in charge of selecting the specific color that she has to send to the developer so they know what colors to use on the miniatures. So now we got that information. We know she's the one that helped push forward for the pre-painting, and she's the one that's working on the master paint category. So she's working on the colors that are being sent to the distributors. That's all we know. And I think for the most part, she's mentioning specifically the stuff that she's working on, but a lot of what she's working on isn't answering our question about why it seem that they are changing AOA. Like that part seems like very conveniently easy to dodge, and maybe it's just either she's not supposed to answer, because that was another thing. Like she was very quiet during Meet the Team, right? And she ended up explaining. She's like, "Well, I was very quiet during Meet the Team because there's a lot I couldn't say, so I just didn't say anything at all." So it's like maybe she's being told not to talk to us about this stuff because it's either just not something she can say or she's not allowed to say. We don't know. We don't know exactly what the rules are when it comes to communicating with us in terms of this product. But that's why I have to say that really at this point, like if they are telling us to wait till March 1st, right? And we're asking for things and they continue to tell us wait till March 1st. This is the thing. Give them that. Let's give them March 1st to prove their design, and if it doesn't work the way that we're asking, then at that point you can choose for yourself. Do you want to play with the new stuff, or do you want to just stay with what has been working all this time, which is the VCs, the NGC systems, things like that? Like you are not forced to play. Like you should not feel forced to play Renegade Heroscape if you don't feel comfortable with what they are designing.
That's the power of the consumer.
Right. So that's the thing. If they're telling us March 1st, we got to be like, all right. If this is what you swear by, if you swear that March 1st is going to be the day that we will be all happy, then let's go. We'll mark the calendars. We'll be there. We'll say hi. And if it doesn't turn out to be what we're looking for, don't pre-order. Really, like that's the tool of discourse we have, and it just I understand the fear and the trepidation, because it's like it is a concerning thought to have that they're with everything that's been substantiated, the rumors that have been passed around. It's concerning, absolutely, but it's like I don't see any like what's the right word? I don't know if they are really allowed to mention anything about that kind of stuff, because I would think if it was something that they felt concerned about, it would have been brought up. Like if they were concerned about how this was going out, they would be like, "Oh, wait," because think about it. Like we mentioned the AI thing, and they answered immediately. That was like the moment someone, I think it was Alexandros, when they mentioned the character as AI. Boom, Scott was in chat immediately going like, "No, that's not AI." But then we're talking about this other stuff, and there hasn't been any talk. So it's like either they're just not allowed to talk about it, or they don't consider it something that needs to be brought up.
Right.
So right now, as it stands, March 1st is the thing. It's the day. It's it's honestly, it's kind of terrifying if you think about it, because they are putting literally everything on this Renegade Con experience, and if it doesn't deliver, then then we have our answer. So. That's what I'm thinking.
Any decision to not talk about the situation, even though we are being very light on this podcast on it, we're still talking about it, and I think it's important to talk about it.
The information is traveling, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's good to get perspective too. And again, any scrutinizing that we do now or March 1st or after March 1st, it doesn't come with any ill will towards the people involved in the program personally. We want a good game. We want something that we can have for our kids, future generations, and overall have it be fantastic for everybody. And we don't have the reins. I mean, I personally don't know how to handle building a game. So for me, this is all speculation. So I hope that if they do come on, or if we do have questions, and when it comes to actual scrutiny about things, I hope they can answer it well and understand that it comes from a place of goodwill. No matter how how barbed or jagged questions might be, it is to pursue overall make a better game, and they're welcome to say, you're wrong, I think it should be this way. Okay, great. You can agree to disagree on things, no problem at all. So Josiah, what are your thoughts? I know I gave a little rant earlier. Do you think I have any validity in the fact that what they announced and then now? It kind of like makes your eye twitch a little bit.
Yeah, so I think they responded the best way they could. They have one of the game developers go into chat and talk to people. It did seem in the chat that there wasn't much they could speak on in regards to that matter, because it is kind of a
past too. So
fork scenario. The best thing, it was the holidays, just let it kind of tide over, and they're trying to make a game here. I don't know if the game will be good or not. I'm torn because I'm trying to be an optimist in this whole situation. They want to make the game succeed. Who wants to make a game to fail? But what I do wish there just been some things for us to chew on, because we've been kind of like in an echo chamber for however long. We're just all repeating ourselves. We're kind of getting into a bit of a, it could have just been something simple as like what you said, just, hey, we're taking the Heroscape game. We're actually going to make like a new edition of Heroscape. It's going to be Heroscape 4th edition. There's going to be some changes. Range doesn't give you, if you attack from height with range, you don't get an extra attack dice. Some changes, I think, up front, to have us chew over, digest that for a while, because the Heroscape community is very pedantic and very analytical, probably one of the most I've ever seen. We like to break things down. It's a very simple game, but we've been able to turn it into a competitive event because we're
quite nerds. We're quite nerds.
Yeah, we like to chew on things mentally. And so we haven't had any mental food for a while, and we're going to kind of, I think March 1st is that we're all saying is D-Day. It's going to make or break a lot of people. If they present something that's, I don't even want to say, if something's just outright, because the word I keep on referring to in the post is amateurish, which is such an interesting choice of words. I don't really know what that means, because there is definitely a line between different from what we know and bad. And I'm willing to embrace different. I'm willing to accept a new meta, new characters, new toys to play with. But I also don't want just, something that just is bland and broken and just doesn't do it. What, it's not fun to play, So what I'm saying is I'm uneasy, but I'm patiently waiting because I got nothing else to do.
Right. And see, Rye Guy is also saying Renegade loves interacting with fans as long as the conversation is meaningless. And I know I saw this, Rye Guy. See the lead developer's discussion of her favorite Kool-Aid flavors after a Discord member brought up the post. Well, like I said, maybe there's not much they can say. Try to give the benefit of the doubt as much as possible when it comes to this. But I do know one thing. When it comes to like this podcast or any questions I ask, I might want to get to know the person. But eventually, difficult questions are going to come up. And the why and the how and a person's approach on things. I mean, it's just not going to be softball. And anytime I have an interview, I hope, I do it all the time, to where people, if they got good answers, then they'll explain themselves. Because you want to know the depth of what they're talking about. We had a fantastic conversation with Adventure Together Games, not just a few months ago. And I really tried to get deep as possible with them on there, and the enthusiasm was just, it was so fun talking to those guys, because they weren't afraid to dive deep in what they were all about. So I hope it's going to be the same with them. I really do. And come March 1st, here's to waiting, because while we're discussing this now, probably not going to bring it up again. We have our drama tonight, but we have other things we also do need to move on when it comes to the next few podcasts as well. So until March 1st, we'll see. But it was great to have a little bit of this discussion. Again, for those of you watching, check out Roguescapers, Sir Heroscape, not Roguescapers, I'm sorry. Tabletop Bros, Sir Heroscape, Roguescapers pending. His video is pending, people.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to make one now.
But Sir Heroscape, Tabletop Bro, Rye Guys video, gain that perspective, and as well as this. I mean, I really didn't want to throw barbs for this. I really wanted to think of some points that would, try and give us a little bit more perspective on what's already been rehashed times over already. And leave it at that. We'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and
the mantle has been laid. If I could offer any recommendations for Renegade if they decide to listen to this, is that if you can't give details, show passion. That's
enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm, because
I like that.
Because I went to the Adventure Together games meeting not very interested in the source or their game system, and then I left it because of their enthusiasm, their ability to confront problems and realize that we're not attacking you, but just genuinely curious and have differing opinions, to buying, pledging the Kickstarter, so if you can't give details, just show us how excited you are for the game that you want to be doing.
And they didn't have all the answers. Some of the things they said, we can't tell you, or we don't know just yet, which is fine, but they still loved what they did. And they answered what they could. So, yeah, absolutely. Good point. All right. Now, let's see here. I'm just going to look at the chat real quick. Is there anything that I missed that should be covered before we close for tonight? Let me see. And again, thank you, everybody, for chatting. I haven't done this mention, so I will. All of you on the Spotify or the Audio Sphere, always appreciate everybody listening. Just love the little community that we have. And again, I do have just Patreon. If you want to become a Patreon supporter, you can do it free or minimal amount you can support financially and get a couple of goodies, extra slot when it comes to contest. And we will have another contest in a few months. Justin won the Marro Gnids tonight, but we will have another one come March 1st. During that stream, we will be running another one, so join us for that. And so if you're on the Patreon, you can get an automatic slot in. You don't even need to leave a comment or whatever requirement it is. But then you can do that requirement and have two names in the slot, so double your chances to win said podcast, as well as the ToV Backstage, which is a grand time talking to these guys outside of the stream, and having a lot of fun developing those extra videos as well. So if you can't do anything financially on the Patreon, still join for free. I do post free stuff sometimes and will do, so I'll try to keep that Patreon up and going this year. Really doing my best to try to expand this podcast, expand Tales of Valhalla as much as I can into this year and the year to come, no matter what happens. I'm really, no matter what happens, I am absolutely thrilled. And again, I am not looking at comments. Talk amongst yourselves a second. Joe, go ahead and say something. Say something intelligent. While I'm
something intelligent.
Ooh.
Nice.
Indubitably, my good sir.
Indubitably.
Pretend not to be mind shackled right now, okay? Pretend not to be mind shackled and say something.
Oh, I love Vidar. If I had to pick a second that wasn't Ugar, I go Vidar.
Wow,
so Vidar's my
totally
least favorite general.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's that. I did not.
Which is weird because I don't
think I expected you to say.
I like the concept of Vidar, but I don't plant any of the units. Is that weird?
Yeah. Vidar is my least favorite general. Team Ular all the way. That green, those lizard folk, those elves, man, best.
Yeah, I use the Ular way more than Vidar, but I do like the concept of Vidar. I like the robots. I want to see more of those type of units. I like Vidar units.
The lore of Vidar is fun too. Jeremy have talked about in the past. Okay, Justin, one of the questions he asked here in the chat earlier was 3D printing is great, but aren't you guys afraid of Hasbro Renegade coming after those who do? And I think we talked a little bit about that. But I think Josiah said something about that. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't think it's going to happen. If it does,
enough members of the community have it saved on their computer that they would never be able to
you're going to lose a lot of goodwill if you try to go after them like that.
Especially if they're not gonna reproduce them themselves. If they were gonna reproduce them themselves, I could almost understand that. But if you're not, all right, then leave us alone.
Let's see here, and Rai Guy's saying, I don't think I read this one. Designing AOA to be strongest against certain classic units would be a massive mistake. Why would you design something to counter an ability from one classic unit when you may never have that in AOA? And I just read that and I didn't understand it. Someone please answer.
That was a reference to the comment that said they should make character-specific counters, which I don't think it should go so far as being character-specific, but I think we do need some more options in the toolbox. There's a reason Q9 is so good, and it's not just because of stats and abilities, but just because there's not a lot of strong counters to it, to its abilities. So I think creating a more open toolbox and sandbox for characters is a really good idea. Something to counter scatter, but not specifically scatter, I think could work. But then you also have examples of that with the repulsors, which aren't very good.
I mean, if I may offer a suggestion
go ahead, Joe.
Of maybe a possible future custom, as if you could freeze something in place for one turn, or a matter of time. I don't think there's any units that really do that. I mean, X-17 holds you in place. I mean, that is a direct counter to scatter. But that doesn't really hold, that's a little bit harder. That's a very specific thing to happen. But if you can if you could, instead of, someone that does a freeze ray or freeze touch, and it stops a unit for an entire turn, and it teaches the player more mechanically to pay attention to, what units to target. Meaning, if it's a target for, if an order marker is on that character, or you have to be aware of, let me go target the rats because I know they're gonna scatter, or let me go target, Q9 because I know he's gonna be activated in, the next round. That sort of thing. Not get rid of an order marker, but freeze them in place. That's the flavor. That's the thing.
Mr. Freeze.
Another thing, Right Guy was saying, good point by Joe. The AOA designs being unfun is maybe even worse than being unbalanced. Delta can fix pricing simply. Much harder to fix units that are just boring to play. What you said earlier about family members, saying this is boring, I don't want to play it anymore. Yep, that's a harder thing to fight. For sure. Let's see. Anything else here? Justin's asking. March 1st giveaway AOA Master Set. Well, I already talked about this in the backstage with Joe last week about what we're giving away, but I'm going to leave that behind a paywall for now. So if you want to know what we're giving away at March 1st, come join us on Patreon and get to where you can listen to the backstage. Then you'll find out. Then you'll know. Let's see here. Garen X, I don't know who this person is, but is also saying, this also brings to mind the awkward favorite ice cream flavor question from Meet the Team stream a few months ago. Yeah. That was cringe. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I had a bad taste in my mouth for a bit.
They better not do any of that March 1st, and we're going to call it really quick.
Oh, I'm definitely
we got nothing to talk about. Let's talk about, what do we talk about? Leaves falling during the fall. Okay, nothing about Heroscape at all. Okay, yeah, let's do that.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they don't deliver March 1st, it's over for because that was their key thing. They said March 1st. They're like, all right, we're waiting. So
anyway, again, we scrutinize not to attack anybody personally. It's nothing personal. We're trying to make themselves and the game better. All right, so
March 1st, everyone better be wearing Jedi robes at the start. So
let's do final thoughts now for this podcast. Jeremy, go ahead and start.
Yeah, so I mean that's honestly my standpoint. I as concerned as those comments have made me, without any continued referencing, and then of course the request to have it taken down. Like we've reviewed that it's caused a lot of concern, but all we have and all they've told us is that March 1st is the time to expect every answer, all the answers we need. So I honestly, like, I'm going to be honest with everybody. I've been so busy with work and trying to get everything else taken care of. Like, I can just turn my brain off to all of this, and March 1st will be here, and it'll be like, all right, let's see what happens. That's kind of where I'm at right now with this whole thing. Even though I've covered it, I have had a chance to talk about it, and we talked about it on Twitch earlier. Mm-hmm. It's just, for me, it's like, yeah, this is really concerning, but there's nothing like, what can we do other than buy or not buy? You know what I mean? Like, that is our chip in this poker game is, do you want to purchase what they're offering or do you not want to? And then we will see how that goes. And if they present something that no one likes because they decided to change everything AOA had, and yeah, if they mess up the Pirates, man, I might be a little upset, because those I was looking so forward to fielding a Dawn Raider army, and like even back then I was like, oh my gosh, Dawn Raiders, and then it didn't come out, and I was like, ugh, and then Renegade announced, and they're like, oh my god, Dawn Raiders, like I like that that sensation has returned. Please let me field the Pirates. That's all I kind of want right now. It's just, I just want to be able to field the Pirates. Don't like, and if you're going to change them, if they change so much they don't become as fun as they were planned to be, then I will be like, because the Admiral's amazing, right? Like, I've played him a couple times in matches already. Love his concept. If they're going to change that concept, like, all right, it's got to have the same vibe or a similar vibe or something that allows me to be like, oh my gosh, it's a pirate. That's all I'm asking. Don't change the pirate aesthetic or what. You see what I mean? It's like, we don't really have anything of substance to go off right now. So best I can do is just wait till March 1st, and I will be waiting with trepidation. I will make sure to be there on that day and see what happens, and then from that, then we decide with our wallets. Will this game succeed or not? And they have to be the ones to prove it to us, right? Because they have to do the work and then be like, all right, this is our version of Heroscape we want to present to you. Do you like it? And if we don't, then they'll see it when the sales go out. That's really all we can do. And then, because like I said, we have our custom communities, right? We have our custom development on ongoing development, various communities in custom development that have been going on for a very long time. That's not going to stop, right? There's no plans to stop that at all. So if Renegade doesn't produce a Heroscape that is to the liking of the community, guess what's going to happen? Everyone's just going to go and work with the customs. It won't. I don't think it's going to affect the game itself as much as people might be worried, because yeah, the D&D back in 2010, yes, that did affect things a lot, right? But I think we have grown in the 13 years hence, and we've kind of just adapted and overcame every situation that has happened since, because it's like, oh, Arena of the Planeswalkers, well, not really what we wanted, but we'll take your land pieces, right? Because how many people want the land from Arena of the Planeswalkers because of how simple it made map setup? You see, so like, we grab what we want, we leave what we don't want, and then we move as a community that way. So that's what I'm expecting. It's just, we'll integrate it into what we already have if it's good, and if it's not, it's just gonna be an option people can play with themselves and with friends and stuff, and we'll see how that goes. And it'll be kind of sad, but that's just how it has to be. Is Renegade has to be able to encourage us to purchase their product because it's their product, so they got to do the work to do that. So yeah, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, of course, I haven't really had a chance to be on stream. I got another writing position. I'm working with my cousin on some writing things, so it's pretty cool. Some paid work there to help support myself. So while I'm getting that done, I'm not really making content because I got to focus on that kind of stuff. I'm learning about search engine optimization and demographics, all those fancy words, like I'm like, what are those? But yeah, that's the stuff I have to start researching for this project I'm working on with my cousin. So that's kind of kept me off the online portion of stuff. But on the side, of course, I cover as lore related topics. I did mention, I know unrelated of course to Heroscape, but I got the latest lore book. You can't even see it because of the screen, of course. It's messing up the screen. But I got the latest lore book of Final Fantasy 14, and this is the kind of stuff I want Heroscape to do, right? This is a 300-page book that just literally has no purpose for the game itself other than just tell you how the world works. That's it. 300 pages of just awesome, right?
Yeah, that would be fun.
I would love to have something like this for
please,
Heroscape.
Renegade.
That's all. Like Renegade, you want to make me happy? Like if you mess up the units, I'm just joking on that. I promise, I'm not saying that as an accusation. If you do, just make me a lore book, and I'll be happy.
60-page full.
Yeah, I'll just sit in my little corner and read the book. But that's just usually what I've been working on, just covering stuff for all the new stuff that's being released this year, because we do have a lot of new stuff that can be coming out this year. So regardless of what might be happening, it is still a good year because we have new stuff coming that way. So that's pretty awesome. And I yield my time.
Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, check out Jeremy's stuff. Even if he's not doing stuff, he's got Patreon, he's got Twitter. So yeah, just check him out there as well.
I post when I can, I promise.
Yeah. And Joe, go ahead.
So yeah, on my end, I'm just gonna skip to what's going on with Joe. Because I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So yeah, I'm working on a video. Hopefully will be out next week. I'm just trying to get myself back in the mindset of get into the wing of things. What's the format? What's the order of events to get a video out? It's been a while. I've been very lazy. So I'm just trying to build up the courage to put my face in front of the camera again. Lot of changes going on in my life. So if you haven't seen what's going on, then yeah, go check it out. There's a lot going on. So forgive me for my absence and my tardiness to the party. So I want to get back to the swing of things. I got a video planned. I got plenty of those lined up. And yeah, I'll be streaming March 1st because, I'm streaming March 1st regardless because that's my birthday stream. So looking forward to that. Really, really looking forward to that. I'm also fearful, very, very scared of that because if things don't go well and I don't have a very good birthday, that's going to be really disappointing. I don't want to be stressed on my birthday. Yeah, I know.
Oh no!
And you can cry if you want to.
I know.
It
exactly.
is
Thank you.
You can cry on your birthday.
I know. So yeah, there's that. That's pretty much it. That's it for me.
Anyway, congratulations.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Joe's video, watch it, and congratulations to you.
Yes. Many things. But until next time, I am not crazy. I'm Joe crazy. I yield my time.
Thank you, Joe. All right, Jason, go ahead.
All right, I guess when it comes to relaunching or reimagining an old game, in the case of what Renegade's doing here with Heroscape, it's been done before with varying degrees of success and with ticking off the old fan base to varying degrees as well. There's plenty of examples out there: MechWarrior Dark Age, Age of Sigmar, just name a couple of them. But feel free to look at how some of those went, some good, some not so good. So at least Renegade's got a lot of good history to look at to try to figure out how the different ways they can approach this. But we'll see what they end up doing come March 1st. And other than that, I'm over on YouTube at Rocker Robotics, doing a lot of 3D printing stuff these days. And somewhere in my Etsy store, I have no idea how you get the link to it, but I finally got all the 3 vehicles from my Kickstarter campaign earlier this year are available for purchase in terms of the STL files for downloading those. And the title of this, now that I actually have the domain, is Fractured Colonies, the set they're from. and it's going to have a whole story to it as I slowly add more vehicles, because I have a book back here with the next set all designed up, and I've started working on 3D models for those. And that is all I got for you this time, Ryan.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, and again, link in the description below. Josiah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I am the Heroscaper here. I have a lot of thoughts on what's going on, but honestly, I'm waiting to see what happens. I'm just hoping that there's some engagement that happens in the future. That that the changes are more interesting and more dynamic than what it was initially promised, despite all the rumors and bad press. But you never know. I'm hesitant, but I'm gonna keep on smiling until I can't anymore. In terms of what I've been working on, I've been working on some NGC stuff. We got a new wave actually coming out at the end of March, as well as a special release before then. Been doing some photography for that, and I'm really excited.
Nice.
It was a group. It was outside like our core member group submission, so it's going to be a really fun release there. I just released a video doing a spin around of all the D&D characters for Heroscape, so if you're looking to paint or model, that's a great resource to have. And I am out of my slump. I'm working on some more projects. Next thing I'm working on is how to paint. I'm going to be going through Aquila's Alliance, so just going to be next. It will be Yuri Oni, how to paint that guy, which is in the works now.
Heck yeah, that's
nice. All right.
That's MK's favorite character, right? Ben's character.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Josiah. Thank you, guys.
I yield my time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And again, link in the description below for all these guys, everything we're talking about tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, links in the description below for everything. And I thank everybody for watching. I guess just two things I want to say before we finish, especially for Renegade. Again, everything we said, everything we speculated on, could be totally wrong, And as far as rumors go, again, take it with a grain of salt. But for Renegade, I continue to encourage you, if you don't have this as a goal, please have this as a goal. Try to keep the goodwill of the community. Try to keep transparency as best as possible as well. This might be like the game book of what they've done with like other communities and such. It might work with this one, it might not, I don't know, but I'd say best advice: community goodwill, transparency. Please do that, because you can't keep us in the dark forever. And March 1st, hopefully we'll gain more perspective at that time. So with that, I am Ryan, also known as Tales of Valhalla, or Tales, if Valhalla is too long of a thing to say, and with my throat. Actually, I'm doing pretty good. It's sore, but I did it for this whole podcast, so thank goodness. But yes, currently, like with Tales of Valhalla YouTube channel, going to be releasing some things. Going to be releasing some animated shorts of battle scenes from Tales of Valhalla seasons 1, 2, and 3. Because I know sometimes people don't like to go through story, long stuff. They just want to see the fighting and stuff. So I'm going to start releasing that soon. Releasing some of the behind the scenes editing of what I did last year, completing the end of season 3. Just released one today. So there's a lot of stuff I'm currently working on. Never been in a slump, and I don't plan to be, because that's just how I roll. And so yeah, for like usually doing live streams on Sunday and Wednesday if it's not a podcast. I'm either playing video games, now editing some other stop motion Heroscape animated content. If you were here last Wednesday, you know what I'm talking about. A character introduction of Nigok Saw. Hopefully we'll release that sometime this year as well. And also, love doing this. This is a new thing, but I love doing like little skirmishes just on the side of my table here. And I think I'm developing that, making that a little bit better, giving good lighting, because I think like a few weeks ago, Joe was telling me, Ryan, it just needs to be a little bit brighter. So the last one I did, and it was a lot nicer. developing formats for that. It's a lot of fun. It helps me learn Heroscape a bit more, as well as I think the audience, and I think that's getting some traction again. And I appreciate the subscriptions as well. I think I'm only 19 away from 500 subscribers now, so it's like, all right, I hope to keep the momentum going and building more of this ToV community, because I don't plan to go anywhere. Illness and all, still want to be here. So with that, I thank all of you for watching, and until next time, or next ToV podcast, probably gonna have some fun. We still got some plans for that, but definitely gonna have some fun doing something pertaining to our favorite game of all time, Heroscape. But until that time, you have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good few weeks later, y'all. See ya on live streams, or comment to these guys. Link description below. Just press all the buttons later. Good night now. Bye.
See you.